Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. It's me, Raul Alejandro Mendoza, or the Nerd Chicano. Either way, how you say it, it's all good here. And we're back for another 4K review on the channel. Today, we're going to be talking about a Criterion 4K, as I'm continuing to go through some of my Criterions. I did not indulge in my addictions of Criterions, and I did not buy any during the Barnes & Noble sale, so I decided I'm going to go through my Criterions, and I'm actually going to review some of these. Of course, I also noticed that this is in line with Mid-Level Media's Criterion Month, so you can say I've been kind of involved in that, which, by the way, Mid-Level Media does some great content. You should check him out. Ken is a great YouTuber, and today we're going to talk about Criterion's 4K release of Menace to Society. This is not the first time I've seen Menace to Society. I've actually covered this on the Nerdcore podcast, and you can check that out if you go to the podcast feed. We covered it on February 2021 when we did our Black History Month theme, where we talked about films made by black directors, and I was super excited to watch this one because this has always been one of those movies that I was always interested in watching. I also never knew where this could be found. I know that it was available on stream, but I before I didn't know where to find this movie. And now I'm glad that I watched it back then, and I can tell you that this is quite the release, because when I watched it back then, it was really, really rough quality. It was not this restoration. It was a really rough quality. So today, we're going to talk about this film and talk about this disc, and I can tell you guys, I'm really impressed. But let's go ahead and read a little bit of this introduction from the back that is provided to us from Criterion.com, and we'll talk about all the things that are included in this 4K. Directors Albert and Alan Hughes and screenwriter Tiger Williams were barely into their 20s when they sent shockwaves through American cinema and hip-hop culture with this fatalistic, unflinching vision of life and death on the streets of Watts, Los Angeles in the 1990s. There, in the shadow of the riots of 1965 and 1992, young Kane, played by Tyrone Turner, is growing up under the influence of his ruthless drug-dealing father, Samuel L. Jackson, in a chilling cameo, and his loose cannon best friend, O-Dog, Lawrence Tate, leading him into a spiral of violent crime from which he is not sure he wants to escape. Despite the best efforts of his grandparents and the steadfast Ronnie Jada Pinkett, fusing grim realism with a propulsively stylish aesthetic honed through the Hughes brothers' work on rap videos, Menace to Society is a searing cautionary tale about the devastating human toll of hopelessness. And this is the specifications and stuff of what's included in this 4K. You get a new 4K digital restoration of the director's cut of the film, supervised by director of photography Lisa Rinsler and co-director Albert Hughes, with 7.1 DTS HD Master Audio soundtrack. In the 4K, though, you get one 4K disc of the film presented in Dolby Vision HDR, and one Blu-ray with the film and special features. Original 2.0 soundtrack, surround soundtrack presented in DTS HD Master Audio. Two audio commentaries for 1993 featuring directors Albert and Alan Hughes. New selected scene commentaries featuring Rinsler. Gangsta Vision, a 2009 featurette on the making of the film. New conversation among Albert Hughes, screenwriter Tiger Williams, and film critic Elvis Mitchell. New conversation among Alan Hughes, actor and filmmaker Bill Duke, and Mitchell. Interview for 1993 with the directors. You get a music video from 1991 for Brenda's Got a Baby, directed by the Hughes brothers. Deleted scenes, film to storyboard comparison, a trailer, and English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing. Plus, inside you get an essay by film critic Craig D. Lindsay. And that's what is included in this. And let's go ahead and look at this packaging. Let's take a look at this. So, this is the front of Menace to Society's 4K Criterion. As you can tell, it's what's called the Criterion logo, Menace to Society, a Hughes Brothers film. This is coming in at spine number 1105 in the Criterion Collection. You get the back, go. And then this is the spine. I never know if I'm holding it straight for y'all or not. It's definitely what's it called in focus, but I can never know if I'm holding it straight. And then of course we go ahead and hold on, let me move that. We go ahead and pull it out. It comes out like this. This is really cool. The way in the back is the gunshots and the blood there. So here is Kane and O-Dog, and then of course you have Kane's grandfather. You open this, and first let me go and show the pamphlet here. It's Kane right there. You got some great art here, by the way. Some from the film. This is the back of it. This looks great. And of course you have that essay and just, what's going information about the transfer. But, your standard booklets. But I always love to see the incredible art that they kind of give with these releases. So just great art. And I haven't had the chance to read the essay. I'm going to get through that. Actually, I do have a hard time, seeing these things, because of the font, the level of the font in the pamphlet. So I need to find them online and be able to read them online. So that's why it takes me a little bit more time when it comes to reading these essays and these releases. But if you go check that out, that is in this in the pamphlet. Now, you have just the 2 discs. You have the 4K, and you have the Blu-ray disc right there, and some more art right there. So, yeah, pretty cool packaging. I'm not gonna lie, it's some great art for this release of Menace to Society. So this is the second time that I watched Menace to Society, and on that first time, I was really impressed with what I watched. I think it was an incredible debut for the Hughes brothers, and now being able to watch it more than a year later, because it's been a year, but a year and some months later, I'm just still left with that same feeling. I like this movie a lot. There is, there is a bit of flat acting here. A lot of these performances do fall flat. Some of them, are not the best, but I think that this film is going for something else than, than a masterclass of acting and filmmaking. This is a great This is a great representation of some great filmmaking, but I think the performances are what kind of lacks for me. Of course, also the pacing in the middle of the film is a little draggy, but by the time it gets to the end, though, that end does pick up, and overall, it's still a really good movie. I think this is one of the quintessential films of the 90s. Especially if you are a fan of hip-hop, this is a movie that I feel like is so embedded in hip-hop culture, and is a film that's so important to hip-hop culture that you have to see this film. This is also one of the most important films made about the hood, and this is, to me, probably top 3, at least 3, the 3 most important films about the hood, right there with Boys in the Hood as well, and Juice, featuring Tupac Shakur. So I think that this film is just incredible. I always am left impressed by the end with what the Hughes brothers are able to do with this film, and being able to create such an impeccable narrative about life in LA and the 90s. And I find it compelling the way that he utilizes footage from both years of riots, from the 1960s and from the 90s, and the way that the Hughes brothers kind of create this atmosphere and aura of juxtaposing these different eras to how living in the 90s in Watts is, and the way that they find a way of kind of creating this really important narrative for this movie. And I'm just always left so impressed by this movie by the time I finish it. Now let's talk about this restoration. Wow. So like I've said, the first time I watched this film was really rough. And also, if you go to Blu-ray.com, they do have screenshots from the original 2009 Blu-ray copy of this film that you can compare with the new 4K from Criterion. I mean, the difference is clear as night and day. I cannot stress that enough. This is probably one of the most impressive 4K restorations of a movie yet from Criterion. I mean, when I put this into my 4K player, I was not expecting this much of a difference. And this is one of those examples that when people always say, well, what's the difference between Blu-ray and 4K? My eyes can't tell. you know, it's not much of a difference. You're just, you know, this, that, now. You know, this really does show a big difference. And it's not just the quality, but it's mostly the restoration. They did some great things at regrading this film that make it look more presentable, but you know, it doesn't look so rough. You know, your subject matter is so rough, and when your film looks just as rough, sometimes that message can get lost in the water. But when it comes to this restoration of Menace to Society, this movie looks amazing. I mean, those colors are popping on the screen. Of course, I don't have Dolby Vision HDR. I have HDR10 on my TV, so this still looks great. There's no other way to explain it. This looks great, and I think that Criterion did an incredible job at being able to keep what makes this movie special, but upgrading the coloring and the quality to the highest degree, because what they did on this film is magical. If you have not picked this up, this is going up on Friday. You still should have like a day or two left for the Criterion sale at Barnes & Noble's. Go into Barnes & Noble's. If you have not bought Menace to Society on 4K, do that right now, or on Blu-ray. Doesn't matter. Each of them have this new restoration. This is an incredible film, and I cannot stress that enough. This is one of the best restorations that Criterion has put out on physical media. The audio is just as great. I mean, especially the tracks, you know, the songs and the score and the dialogue just sounds fantastic. It's crisp. The surround sound is fantastic. I don't have a big setup, but I'm able to hear what I can, and I'm able to get just a fantastic audio track from this film. They did an incredible job at being able to maintain that feel to the film from its audio track, and using the songs and all that, and they were able to clean it up but still make sure that it sounds like a film from the 90s, because a lot of times people expect these films to, you know, be done to today's standards, and I think it takes away a lot from how a film feels when it comes to restoring them from back then to give them the feel of 2022 or 2021. It doesn't work. You need to stick to what makes the film special, and they do that with Menace to Society. It's not as rough as it used to be, but it still very much feels like a movie that was released in the 90s, and I'm so happy that this was a success. I'm glad that this film was fantastically restored, and this is definitely a film that I'm going to want to rewatch more later on in the year or next year. I'm going to definitely keep watching this because I'm just left absolutely impressed with the video and audio quality of Menace to Society's 4K from Criterion. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe and you turn on the notification bell by clicking it whenever you hit subscribe, and you don't miss a single lick of content that comes to the channel, and you go ahead and stay around because you like physical media, and we love physical media here. And you leave a like on this video, so that way, you know, it just helps, and it helps knows that you guys like these videos, and you talk to me in the comments. Let me know, do you like Menace to Society? Have you bought this film? Did you buy it during the sale? All that wonderful stuff. I want to talk to y'all. I want to find out, well, what your thoughts are on this film and on the 4K restoration on this movie. Of course, if you want to keep up to date with me on social media, you go ahead and find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Serialized, Twitch, and TikTok at the Nerdy Chicano. That is at the Nerdy Chicano, and I'm on all of that, the same name. If you want to keep up to date with all the things that I do on Nerdcore, go to nerdcore.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Nerdcore as well, down on there, and follow us on Twitch, the Nerdcore, on there as well. It's pretty much self-explanatory. We're on everything at the Nerdcore. But if you go to the nerdcore.com, that's your one-stop shop for everything that you're gonna want to find us from us. But there goes another video, y'all, and I'm really happy that we got to talk about this film because it's incredible. And I'll see you all on the next one. But of course, my wonderful cinephiles and renowned scholars, celebrate the love of cinema today, tomorrow, and every day after. I'll catch you all on the next one, guys.